Did you struggle with figuring out what do you say? How do you say it? How do you manage this very, very challenging situation that many leaders face? Well, this video is going to share with you some strategies that you can start implementing today if you happen to be in a situation as a leader where you feel like you are undermined. Many times people do not know what to say, how to say it, how should you manage the situation. So I want you to learn from my over 20 years of experience as a director, as a C-suite executive, and as a public speaker to help you be able to communicate confidently in these type of situations. Because leaders, the way you handle this very challenging and very difficult situation can either elevate you as a leader, or it can really take you down as a leader. And I know this is a hard topic, so if you clicked on this video, I know you're going through something right now, and I want to let you know you are not alone. This happens a lot in the wonderful world of leadership, and I do want to share with you that what you are dealing with right now doesn't necessarily reflect on you as a leader. So I want you just to find comfort in that. I know it's hard. I know you're dealing with a lot, but let's just have a conversation today. And I want to know in the comments below, have you ever experienced this as a leader, and what did you say, and how did you manage this very delicate and very complex situation? Now, if you are new to me, this channel, this is what we talk about. We talk about the very challenging situations that come up for leaders, and my role here is to help you to be able to communicate confidently and concisely under pressure. And oftentimes on YouTube and different channels, they may not go into the details and the strategies and the techniques that I share with you that will help you to really communicate at that higher level than your peers so that you stand out from everybody else. Now, my target audience in terms of who I work with directly are women in leadership in terms of my executive coaching practice. However, I have a lot of women in leadership and men in leadership that are part of my amazing subscribers here on YouTube. And I welcome you all being here. The information I'm going to share with you truly does transcend gender, and you will learn a lot of information regardless of what gender you are. Now, this is a live video. There's typically a point in time where people will start to join. So if you're watching this portion of the video, you are more than likely watching the replay. And if you are watching the replay, welcome, welcome. Glad you're here today. Give me just a few minutes as people start to join our conversation today to greet them and say hello, and then we'll go right into how you can manage these situations if you have been undermined as a leader and what you need to say. This is a hard topic. This is not an introductory topic in terms of this is my first day being a leader. This is definitely more of an advanced topic for those of you who have been leaders in your roles for an extended amount of time, or maybe you're new leaders. This is a hard topic, and I want to make sure I provide you with some support and ways to really help you thrive when you have these situations come up. As I mentioned at the very beginning, I'm going to share with you some strategies to help you be able to navigate these situations and help you develop some talking points or what you want to say when these specific situations come up. I want to say welcome, welcome to those of you who have joined today. Let me know in the comments below, have you ever experienced this as a leader? Have you ever been undermined as a leader? Why am I mentioning this? The fact that you clicked on this video means that you are going through something, or maybe want to learn more about it so that you can be prepared when this happens. Because as leaders, undermining does happen, unfortunately. But if you've ever experienced this, let me know in the comments below. What did you say? How did you manage it? So we can learn from each other. I'm going to share with you over 20 years of experience that I have as a C-suite executive, a director, and as a manager. And I've dealt with this, unfortunately, a couple of times throughout my career. And I've found that these are very defining moments that you will have as a leader. So let me know if you've ever experienced undermining as a leader before. Let me know in the comments below. So why am I talking about this specific topic? One, I was asked this question by an individual who I didn't want me to necessarily say their name, but they are dealing with some undermining at work. And specifically, the undermining that's happening is actually with their boss. And they asked me, well, how do you manage this? What am I supposed to say? Because I know, you help individuals really develop how they can communicate in those very challenging situations. And I told them I would just do a video. I would just do a video to give them some insight in terms of how they want to navigate it. So there's a couple things that I want to mention. First, welcome those of you who have joined today. I appreciate you being here. Let me know what part of the big, beautiful world you are joining from today, friends. And if you've ever been undermined as a leader, and what did you say? Let's learn together in terms of how we can help each other overcome this. So to start, let's talk about undermining. What does that mean exactly? Undermining, you can imagine this visual. Okay, let's say you are building a house. You're putting up, you're pouring your concrete, and you're putting up your drywall and your foundation on one side of the house. On the other side of the house, somebody has a jackhammer and they're just tearing the house down while you are building it. That is my visual representation of undermining. You are trying to build something as a leader and someone is trying to take it down on the other side. Maybe you don't see them taking it down, but they are taking it down while you're building something. And you don't want to do this. So I appreciate you all for joining today. Let me know what part of the big, beautiful world you are joining from today. And let me know in the comments below if you've ever been undermined as a leader. What did you say? How did you manage it? Let's talk this morning so we can help each other grow in these challenging situations that come up a lot. As I mentioned, a lot of times people don't talk about the details as it relates to some of these very complex conversations we have as leaders, and that is my expertise. That's what I'm here to support you with. So we talked about the visual. For those of you who just learned, what does undermining mean? Imagine yourself. For those of you who just learned, I just shared this, but I'm going to go over it with you because I see there's some people that learn that just joined. Imagine yourself building a house. You are pouring concrete. You're putting up your drywall on one side of the house, and on the other side of the house somebody has a jackhammer and they're tearing your house down. That is my visual representation of undermining. What I want you to know, that if you have been undermined or you are currently being undermined as a leader, it can be a very difficult time. It can be a very difficult time for you. There's so much that you are processing as a leader, and I appreciate the smiley faces. Thank you, friends. There's so much that you're processing as a leader, and it can be a pretty significant blow to you as a leader in terms of your confidence, how you communicate. There's just so much you're going through. So I want to preface this and start off this live by saying that if you are currently in that situation where you are being undermined as a leader or have been undermined in the past, share with me your experiences here, whether you're watching live or the replay. But what happens oftentimes is that it's not about you. I know it feels like it's about you. It's completely about you. It's happening to you. But a lot of times it's not about you. What I've found that happens for the people that are actually the underminers, I would say, is that there's a few things I've noticed. And I have had this happen to me at the highest level too, just like the individual that wanted me to do this video. I've had it happen to me with direct reports I work with, and I've actually had it happen to me also with my boss. And if I have time, I'll share with you the story of what happened in my scenario. But most of the time when people are undermining you, there is something that you have that they wish that they had. Let me be specific. You may be taking your department or your organization or your business to levels of success that no one actually knew was achievable. And you may have someone in your leadership circle that feels a bit intimidated by that. They might be jealous of your success, and they feel like, I don't know how this person is doing all this. There has to be something wrong. There's something wrong. I'm going to find it out. That's one part of undermining. So there's that jealousy piece of it there. The other part of it is that there may be a sense of control that they wish that they had, but they simply don't have. So specifically, if you are doing very well, and I've seen that undermining happens a lot when people are doing very, 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 very well. You may be doing something extremely well as a leader, and other individuals that may be undermining you may feel like, I don't understand how they're doing that. And I don't really like that. And I just want to make sure that they are not as successful as they need to be. That is what I have seen that happens with underminers. So when you have this situation come up, know that it's not about you. It's about something that is great within you that other people wish that they had. So have that mindset when this occurs. Now we're going to talk about specifically what can you do, what can you say when you are undermined as leader. But before we go into that, we have Ahmad Malik G7C. Welcome, friend. How you doing today? Let me know what part of the big, beautiful world you are joining from. And if you've ever been undermined as leader, what happened? Let's talk about it so we can come up with a strategy to help other individuals, other leaders that are dealing with this, because this is a topic people are not talking about a lot on YouTube, especially as it relates to leadership. It's one of those very complex topics that are uncomfortable by themselves, but definitely as a leader, it can be just hard to discuss and articulate this situation. So that's why I talk about here on my channel. If you've dealt with undermining, specifically if you're a woman in leadership in my audience that I work with in my executive coaching practice, you're welcome to reach out to me for a strategy session in the description below. Let's talk about where you are. Let's talk about how we come up with a strategy for you. Now, what do you say? So now we talked about the underminers, knowing that this is not about you. There's something amazing that you are doing that this particular person does not like or does not support or is jealous of, or etc. That's typically where undermining comes into play. Now, one more part of that before we go into what specifically you need to do is that I have found when I've experienced undermining as a leader, when I have been undermined as a leader, is that there is an elevation that is needed for me as a leader to go through. Every single time when I have had this happen to me as a leader, there is another level that is even more advanced than where I was before that I end up transcending to because of this undermining that's happening. And I believe sometimes in our careers, there are defining moments that we all go through as leaders. And when you are being undermined, when you're in the middle of it, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like very much you're being punched along. People are not supportive, even though you've been incredibly supportive. It feels tough. It feels very challenging. So if you're going through this and you clicked on this video, I know you're going through something right now, and just know that you will get out of it. The situation is temporary. It will not last forever. And you are going to that next level. Many times you've outgrown the place that you have worked at, or the organization you have been building. You may have outgrown something, and that's why that undermining happens. So what do you do when this takes place? Well, first of all, most of the time, people that are undermining other people, they are doing this out of what? Out of an emotion. So I want to know from you in the comments below, if you're watching the replay, when does this happen to you and what took place? Let's talk about it. But I have found that people that are undermining others, they tend to, there's some emotion that goes with it. Therefore, you want to be the person that is not expressing a lot of emotion when you find out that someone is undermining you. So what do you say? The first strategy I tell my clients to do when they have this happen to them is to take some time. When you're starting to put dots together and you're thinking, wait, this is something's happening here. I'm definitely being undermined. My project's being undermined. My business is being undermined. The first response you want to have is to take some time and take your emotions out of it. Now, I know that sounds hard, especially if you're going through this right now, but definitely follow my guidance on this. Hang in there with me, because if you can take a moment and just reflect, and instead of being that emotional person, being highly emotional, highly upset, very angry, think about what is going on here. Really process what is going on, and do it from the level of a business owner. When we are business owners, there's the emotional aspect of business, of course, but there's the strategic aspect of business that we have to look at numbers, we have to look at data to make informed decisions. Therefore, you need to do the same thing if you believe that you're being undermined. Take the emotions out, put things together. Maybe you're noticing you're being left out of meetings as it relates to your project or whatever it is you're working on. Perhaps you're noticing that people are having conversations about you, or there's meetings scheduled with maybe some of your team specifically that are taking place without you being present, even though you perhaps are the leader of your department. It could be something like that. And so you put everything together from a non-emotional state and say, okay, what data is in front of me right now to make me think that this is what's actually happening to me at the moment? So once you're able to get into a not as heightened emotional state, are you still going to be mad? Yes, you're going to be upset about it. We're all humans. We have every reason to be upset when this is happening to you. But I do want to say that if you can look at it from the lens of what is going on here, this will be helpful. I talk about this on a lot of my live videos, so if you like this information so far, definitely you want to subscribe to the channel, because I go through those very real world situations, very challenging situations that come up for us as leaders. There's a live video on my channel that talks about handling your emotions under pressure. There's another live video that talks about managing difficult conversations. So spend some time on my lives and you'll definitely get some insight there. So for those of you who are joined, welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well today. Let me know what part of the big, beautiful world you are in today. And let me know if you've ever been undermined as a leader. What happened and what did you do? Now, we talked about the first strategy, which is take your emotions out of it, figure out exactly what specifically is going on. The second strategy I would tell you to do in terms of what to say is to be very, very, very quiet in your communication. Now, I know that may be counterintuitive in terms of what I had in the title. However, at this time, when you feel like you are being undermined as a leader, silence from you is very important. Why is that? Silence is so incredibly powerful. I talk about this on many of my live videos. And if you can master silence and not be uncomfortable with silence, you will automatically, I will guarantee you, you will accelerate in your career when you use it at strategic times. This, friends, is a strategic time when you want to use silence. You want to use silence because you want to start to observe more. Observe more and see what's going on. Who are having, what conversations are being had, what meetings are taking place, those type of scenarios. And you can only do that if you stay quiet and you quietly observe what actually is going on. This will tell you a lot about what conversations are taking place. This is what I teach my clients in the Real Executive Woman, the transformative leadership experience that I have. This will actually help you to start observing what exactly is going on with different conversations. Now, I apologize. The sun is incredibly bright here in the Sunshine State of Florida in this one spot, so I'm sorry about that. Once you've had a chance to stay silent and really start to observe what is going on, what conversations are being had, and etc., then you start gathering data. And I talk about this when you're managing a crisis as a leader. You have to have this moment of silence, of thought, where you're able to see exactly what is going on here. What is going on? And which individuals are having conversations? How can I get this information together and figure out what my next steps are? Now, the next strategy, which is the third, is this is when you speak. This is when you start to develop and find out information. So you want to ask questions to individuals that you are working with, or maybe your direct reports, and etc. So specifically in this scenario, what I would ask, if you have someone in mind, someone you feel like you can have a conversation with to learn a little bit about what's going on, is to ask them, how are things going? I know there's a lot of meetings going on. Is there any updates that I need to be aware of? And etc. And let them speak, let them talk, let them tell you what they want to say, if they want to say something. Now, you'll be surprised as a leader, the people that you have supported, maybe you have helped to get raises, and maybe you have helped to grow in their careers, maybe the very ones that say nothing. And I know that's painful. It is very painful. That's actually happened to me. It's happened to me a couple of times, and it's really, really hard when you are trying to find out information and you get nothing from people that you've supported. But just know, as I mentioned, this is a part of your elevation as a leader. This is a test that you will ace and pass if you're following my channel and subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to help you be able to navigate your way out of this type of complex situation that happens. So we have our strategies. First, you want to really take some time and determine, what is going on here. Take the emotion out of it. Look at things black and white and see, why do you feel like you're being undermined? What's going on? How can you navigate this challenge? Second is to stay silent. Be very quiet in this situation, because you need to observe a lot more than you speak when you have a situation where you feel like you're being undermined as a leader. People think that silence is bad, but silence, believe it or not, is a way for you to communicate also. And if you want to learn how to master your silence, subscribe to the channel. I talk about this a lot on my channel. And if you're at a point where you need some support as a woman in leadership, then reach out to me in the description below, and let's schedule a strategy session and talk about where you are. The third strategy is to ask questions, very open-ended conversational questions, and let people speak to you. You will find out people, when you have those opportunities, who are really supportive of you and will tell you, look, I had a conversation with this person and they were alluding to this and etc. Or the people who will say absolutely nothing to you and let you continue to be undermined. That's where you start to determine who are your true supporters, who are the individuals that are loyal to you, that really want you to be successful, and etc. Now, I've shared with you 3 strategies in terms of how you can navigate the situation, what you want to say specifically, especially when it comes to you having those questions that you want to ask. How are things going? I know there's a lot of meetings happening. Are there any updates I need to know? And then that will give the person an opportunity to either speak to you candidly about what they know or what's been told to them, or maybe they say nothing. And if they say nothing, even though it may be hurtful for you, especially if it's somebody you supported, just know that this is information you need to know. And when you're having these challenging situations, all information is good information, even if it hurts, even if it is challenging for you to hear and you don't want to hear it, and you're upset that you're not hearing anything. This is very, very challenging. So you want to say your piece, but you have to do it in a very strategic way when this is happening for you as a leader, because you will be able to go to that next level as a leader, but you have to be able to navigate this specific challenge as a leader. And I hope this information helps you. Ask those open-ended questions. How are things going? What updates do you have? Is there any information I need to know? And find out who is really supporting you and who is really there to help you and that wants you to be successful, because those are the individuals that will tell you exactly what's going on. Now, later this afternoon, when I go live this evening, I will share with you my specific situation that happened to me as it relates to undermining, because this has happened to me with direct reports. This has actually happened to me for a boss that I was working for many years ago. And I know this is hard. I know this is a hard conversation that many of you are having. And I know this is something that people don't talk about on YouTube like that. So I want to make sure I'm supporting you and providing you with the communication skills and strategy that you need to navigate this very challenging time. Hang in there, leader. If this is happening to you, this is a defining moment, and it's not about you specifically. It's about something amazing that you are doing that other people just don't know how to handle. So I hope you all have an amazing day. Join me later this evening if you want to dive more into this topic, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.